We are not even 2 full days into the offseason, and I'm already getting irritated by some of the MLB industry's behavior, specifically in regards to awards, and even more specifically, the Gold Glove Awards. Now, I would say by and large they made the correct choices. In fact, I don't think there was a single decision I greatly disagreed with, save one. But it was one of the most ridiculous oversights I've seen in this award's recent history, basically ever since they started accepting advanced analytics as part of their calculations, being Dylan Dingler winning a Gold Glove over Alejandro Kirk. Now, before we proceed, I want to preface this by saying I actually am a Tigers fan. I was following their improbable run through the playoffs this season fairly closely, and was even personally at ALDS Game 5, so I hope you can trust me when I say I have zero bias towards wanting Kirk to win. But the numbers just make zero sense to me. Because I feel so strongly about this, we're going to go talent evaluator by talent evaluator and compare the two players, starting with Baseball Savant. Among all American League catchers, Kirk was first in fielding run value by a margin of 10. At a ridiculous total of 22. Yeah, the difference between him and the next closest, being Carlos Narvaez and Dingler, was more than Cal Raleigh managed to post in the entire year, and he had a good season in this regard. Kirk also led his league individually in 2 of the 3 major stats that go into fielding runs, being framing and blocking, at marks of 16 and 5 respectively. It's important to note here that Dingler was great in each one of these regards as well, just not really in the same stratosphere as the Toronto backstop, besides when it came to throwing, where he was marginally better. Hopping over to Fangraphs, who I consider to be the second best measure of catcher performance, we can see that Kirk produced a defensive value of 25.6. Again, first in the American League among qualified players, with Dingler still coming in at a very impressive 19.1, good for 3rd place. This does a good job, I think, of displaying the discrepancy I'm talking about. It's not like Dingler had a bad year. In fact, in many seasons, I think he would be the correct choice. But Alejandro had a near generational performance in this regard, only being eclipsed really by the fielding genius that is Patrick Bailey. Hopping over to our final, and in my opinion, lowest resolution tool, we have Baseball Reference's defensive runs saved, which have Kirk registering 9 and Dingler registering 6. Again, both very good totals, but with the same narrative I've outlined throughout this entire thing being present. As an exercise in how great the separation is between all of these, I thought I would add up the numbers between every measuring tool and see what the total was, which gave me a total fielding value for Kirk of 56.6, with Dingler coming in at 37.1. That's right, for as awesome as Dylan was, he finished nearly 20 cumulative points behind Alejandro. There's literally zero justification you can give this selection, and it just sucks to see the Blue Jays backstop, who just suffered one of the worst postseason losses in MLB history, with himself recording the final 2 outs, not get his first Gold Glove this season, despite deserving it about as much as anybody.
Alright everybody, if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching, and if you did, consider checking out any of these other videos on your screen right now for other content just like this. Also, if you ever see anything you'd like to see me detail in the video, feel free to reach out to my email, basebpoet@gmail.com, and if I end up using your idea, I'll give you a shout out. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.